Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Ravi. Thank you for joining us for our live show. We're coming in a bit late. I just was just doing legal work and all that kind of stuff, and I lost track of the time. But thank you for joining us. We come here every week for the last, I don't know, like 4 years, it seems, and maybe even longer. And take your questions about general immigration law issues that I know better than other stuff. So for example, I don't do removal hearings. I don't do asylum law. So not a good resource for that, but other stuff. We take your questions for general education purposes only, not intended as individual legal guidance. Here on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. And so really happy to jump in and take your questions there as we log in for this holiday break. I do want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. A lot going on in the world, but at the end of the day, hopefully you're safe, happy, healthy, with family, one of the above at the very least. And hopefully in this session we could help just relieve you a little bit of the stresses of immigration law by just knowing more or comparing what you other lawyers have told you, in my opinion, and that kind of stuff. But again, this is general education only, not intended as individual legal guidance. So we just came in online right now. People are starting to come in the show to ask questions. So we're waiting for your question as you come up. Feel free to just shoot out your question and we could take it from there. Let's see. We're live. Just double checking the working. Peterson Paul, thank you for the kind words. And everyone on TikTok who's joining as well as on Instagram. Just shoot out your questions before the holiday break. We are always working here at JK Law Firm. Vita says, I have a question. Vid says, I have a question. Go ahead. Deep says, can we travel an SIJA case on advanced parole? I don't do SIJA cases, so I don't want to talk too much about that. If you have a clean background, you can always travel on advanced parole, but there's risks involved. I'm not sure if it's worth the travel risk. Fredo says, parents have been here 30 plus years illegally. I'm born here. Any path to a green card? If they enter the United States legally and you're a U.S. citizen, you can file for the green card. If not, there's no waiver based on having a child if they enter without permission. They'd have to fall within some sort of subset of a loophole, if you will. It's not really a loophole, but for example, if in the 90s someone filed a green card case for them as 245I, potentially they have other pathways to fix the admission issue. So we have to dive deep into the entry in your parents' history to see some sort of exception exists. Maybe they're victims of crime for U visa, something like that, but potentially nothing. So I'll have to see. Shanawi says, my I-485 marriage case reopened, request accepted. How long could it take? There's no timeline as to how long it's going to take. Typically, we don't reopen those because it could take forever, but it depends on how much money you want to spend and which way you want to do it. Harris asks, when Trump's coming in, how long do you think I-245 file joint process will take? That's impossible for me to answer that question. While we wait for approval, can I get my wife through a tourist visa? You can always apply for a tourist visa. It's up to the government whether they'll issue the tourist visa or whether they'll let her in. Vid asks, can a DACA recipient get married to someone that got security clearance checks? Anyone can get married to anybody in the U.S. as long as it's legal, not marrying like a cat or dog or something like that. Vid says, can it lead to a denial for them? I'm not in charge of background checks and clearances with the government. That's not something I can answer. Deep says, my I-485 administratively closed because visa unavailable. I don't know your case, Deep. That's way too detailed in your case, so I know nothing about the background of it. Emmy says, 2 months ago, I sent my invitation file. Okay, and now they schedule for interview is normal. I'm not sure what your invitation file is. You just type this out better. Shinna said, is it safe to travel on I-751 receipt? Is it safe to get in a car to go to work? That's whatever answer you have to that is what I can answer there. So I can't answer if something's safe or not. Uzaria says, hi, I got approved for a green card for 2 years, no interview for removal condition. I get interviewed with Trump probably, but it's up to them. Shinda keeps asking the same question. Uzario says, hi, I got approved for my green card. I answered that question already. Arthur says, how long does USCIS take for I-130 RFE review time? There's no fixed timeline. They'll take however long they want to take. Elmer asks, hi, you got approved to motion reopen for a deportation. What are the chances for the judge terminating deportation? I have a petition for my son. I don't give chances. If you have a good case and the judge is nice, I can't give. It's not a gambling thing where I give you risks and stuff like that. Mr. says, I had a free consultation with you almost 2 years ago and would like to use their firm to file my citizenship following my I-751 as a crew. Is that doable? Mr. Tusk, I don't recall having a free consultation with you, but the place to contact us is through email. Use the same email that you used last time so you can check to see if it was you. But this isn't the place to have that conversation. Email me privately. This is a group conversation that's live and public. Rabbit Hole says, can I apply for asylum after 1 year for my last entry in the United States if you have a good reason for filing so late? Yes. Me says, immigration, I already answered your question. Well, yes, you have an interview after 2 months. Is it normal? There's nothing normal with immigration. I can't answer that question. I don't know what details of your case to see if there's a problem with it. Files as somebody overstays on a visitor visa after January 20th, is he or she can marry to a U.S. citizen? Anyone could get married in the United States, so that overstay doesn't matter. Now, if you satisfy all the other requirements for a green card, then yeah, if you're saying, can you get a marriage green card based on marriage U.S. citizen? If you have other issues, yeah, you can't. The overstay doesn't matter when you're married to U.S. citizen, but we got to know a lot more stuff. Fredo says, can they apply for the I-6-1 or 6-1A for them not to serve a 10-year penalty? The waiver for I-6-1A applies for the qualifying relative is a spouse who's a U.S. citizen or green card holder, or a parent who's a U.S. green card holder. You can't do it based on the child, so it wouldn't apply if I recall who was asking the question. They can't get it through a child. They potentially did that so that people don't enter without permission and then use their children for waiver. So that won't happen. Dinesh says, what to do if embassy is not sending a letter for interview even a month? You can sue them maybe, but who knows if that's going to work. Why do you care about these illegals? I don't care. I'm just telling, there's no illegals. I'm talking to people who have valid cases or not illegal. Real Guy says, I got my biometrics done a week ago. How long will it take? There's no timelines related to biometrics and how long you'll get something. There's no connection between those. Forrest says, if eligible, is it better to apply for naturalization now during Biden or after January 20? You should file whenever you're ready to file. The divergence that you say between or after doesn't make any sense. If you have a good case, Forza, then you should file it. Why would you wait longer? It doesn't make any sense. Moganda says, I filed married by separately and wife filed married head of household. You should do your taxes properly. I'm not an accountant. I can't talk about that. Argani says, can I get a permit as an Afghan living in Europe? What permit are you talking about? There's no permit. There's like, if you want to move to the U.S., you got to get some sort of visa for it. Period says, after 10 months of administrative processing, the embassy asked for passports medical, but it's over 2 months and refused. Yeah, the embassies are unreliable, unfortunately. Mohanad says, hello, I finished the green card interview with my wife since August 16th. No updates to tell them. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the government. I'm not sure how strong your case is. Any updates on Nigerian embassy? I mean, they're changing the procedures at the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria, where you have to initially come for an interview to get review documents, and then a few weeks later come back again to do the interview. That's the most recent update. Solo asks, how long do I have after receiving my case number to file I-864? You should file if you need to I-864, you should file what kind of case do you have. Whenever you file the adjustment of status from I-485, there should be an I-864 with that. So it depends on what kind of case you have and when you can file an I-485, or if you have consular processing, if consular processing is ready and they're accepted. So when you say after receiving my case, there's an infinite number of cases you could have submitted. So that doesn't give no information for me to answer that question. P says, is it bad to apply immediately after getting married to apply for adjustment status? Then it's just pending asylum. No, it's not. It's not bad to file getting married and then immediately file for adjustment status. There's nothing bad about that. But then there's like, what did you do before you got married? When did you enter the United States? How long have you known each other to get married? There are other issues. So what you're focusing on has nothing of importance, but you're completely like not paying attention to all the important parts. So that's why you should schedule a consultation in private, jqqlaw.com/contact to discuss your case. Says, can a non-U.S. citizen consider evidence of income if spouse doesn't work? The citizenship doesn't matter. You have to have lawful work authorization in the U.S. and live in the U.S. to be able to use your income. Rizli says, how long does it take her parents to get a visa after interview? There's no fixed time for anything with government. Kay says, K1 visa, I'm active military, fiance is Filipina, submit application last month, wait time, forever, 12 months, 20 months. Says, can a non-U.S. citizen income, you answered that question. You already asked, came to the border and already filed for asylum. Can I be deported without court hearing? No, if you file for asylum, and they have to have a court hearing now. Chris Mars says, hey, Mr. Kostrov, I got a question. Would you say an approved I-765 means the I-485 is on the right track? They're completely unrelated. They're nothing to do with each other. Ronada Poor says, can I file I-130 myself? If you mean do you have to have a lawyer or not, there's no requirement to have a lawyer. I recommend it because I see people messing up on this stuff all day, every day, and from the questions that come here. But it's up to you if you want to do that. Key 24 2488 says, hello, if you have a deportation order, can you become beneficiary for my asylum case? Can you become, the question doesn't make sense. Can you become a beneficiary for my asylum case? If I'm assuming you have asylum, you're marrying someone who has a deportation order, potentially you could be added to that, but we don't do court work or asylum work, so I don't want to guide on that. Soul says I-130 approved. Well, it depends, Solo, what kind of I-130 you have, and what country you're born in, all this kind of stuff. Nizam says, my P1 Afghan refugee, is there any way to bring my mom an underage bro? Is there any way? There may be an exception, but we don't specialize in the situation you're dealing with, so I recommend consulting other firms. Read Paul, take your visa, approved day one, apply. I'm not sure what that is about. Salem says, advanced parole, approved TPS approval, but I have my EOR case pending without future court. Can I travel? I don't recommend traveling. P says, do you offer take asylum cases? No, we don't handle asylum or accept asylum cases. Gurpreet says, I'm a green card holder. My wife came through student visa 2 months ago. Can I apply for I-130? You can apply for the I-130, but it's going to take a while before you file for adjustment of status. Gurpreet, schedule a private consultation. Maybe wait like another month before filing for I-130. You want to do that quickly just to avoid hassle, but you technically can, and then just wait for adjustment period to open up. She needs to maintain her student visa status. Forrest says, thanks. Is changing administration going to delay processing times for naturalization? Probably, but we're talking about the future. Is there going to be World War IV or V? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So any questions about future timelines? Everything's going to take longer because Trump's probably going to have more interviews in general. But like, it's all speculation, and we're here talking about facts. There's a bunch of other YouTube channels where people just say, stuff about Trump just to get attention. They get much more views than I do, but I'm not really down with just saying stuff just to get a view. So I have no idea what Trump's going to do. Maybe he'll just open up the border and say everyone gets a green card. That's what he said. He said if everyone who's a student visa holder is going to get a green card. So is he going to do that? No, but I'm not going to sit here and speculate about the future. I want to help people on actual stuff that I could advise on. But I appreciate the question, for us. I don't want to come down hard on you. Everyone's asking the same question. That's why I'm getting annoyed. but I just want to be clear. We're about facts here. I want to really help people. Speculating the future is not something I can do. So I don't even want to bother doing that. Saeed says, as an F1 student, if I use New York Essential Health Plan as considered public charge, I have to see what you said to get that health plan. Because like if you lied in there to get it, because if you're a student, you should have your own health insurance through your school, and you should have enough money to support yourself. So you may have like not told your proper income in there is problematic. And also like, right now these things are okay, but Trump might change things and consider something a public charge and not today. So, take it as you will, it is what it is. Foss says, can I get another job legally on the J1 visa? I already have one. I'm looking for a second one. You have to have a permission to have that second job, so you might need a second J1 for that, but you can't just willy-nilly get another job. Joanna says, would someone from Lebanon qualify as refugee due to the situation? Would that not qualify? It probably wouldn't qualify because, unless the person has to have some sort of a nexus to a class of people that's being subjugated or problem with the government. So probably wouldn't work out. A person from Lebanon would probably just do TPS right now. But talk with the asylum attorney. I'm not an asylum attorney. Paul says, DUI misdemeanor is a deportable crime if asylum is pending. A DUI is not a deportable crime by itself, but it could be a very negative factor in your background, and it depends on what the final court disposition is. Parole says a student visa holder during study can marry a U.S. citizen. Yeah, that marriage doesn't matter. Download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, because you're inevitably going to file for a green card. We have a detailed guide about the marriage green card process for you. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. It's a website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Then schedule a private consultation. Rizali says, my parents had an immigration interview in January. Is there any reason they can get denied? There's an infinite number of reasons to get denied. So that's too open-ended a question to ask. I need to review your case to see if there's any red flags. Divine says, what would be a suggestion for immigrants that are applying for asylum? I don't just have a good case. I don't do asylum law. How long does VAWA take? It's taking forever right now. Farzan, I already asked your question. Reina says, does it matter if I apply for reentry permit first and then the I-130, or can I just apply at the same time? They're complete unrelated stuff. So do both at the same time, just whatever you want to get done first. Joanna says, my Wi-Fi cut out when you answered the question. Sorry, would you mind repeating? I don't remember what your question was, Joanna, so try asking it again. Oh, yeah, 1.1 thousand hearts. That's wonderful. Da, 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 da. Okay. So let's catch up. It was a refugee question if someone's from Lebanon. So we don't handle asylum law. I don't want to advise on that. You probably don't have an asylum claim, but TPS, temporary protected status, has been declared for Lebanese people if they're in the United States. So a Lebanese person would probably just do TPS for now and then figure out what's going to happen with them later. And for asylum case, you have to be in a certain group of people that has a nexus to the government's persecution or the people running Lebanon's persecution and stuff. I don't do asylum, so I don't remember all the terms, but it's unlikely, but talk with an asylum attorney. But in the meantime, look into TPS, temporary protected status. Ponko says, I'm a J1 now, asylum status pending. Can I get a green card if I marry a diversity visa winner? If you maintained your J1 status and you're not subject to the J1 2-year home residence requirement, yes, but most likely your J1 is already out of status, and it may or may not have a 2-year home residence requirement, so we got to look into that. You're welcome, Joanna. T says, can I renew DACA with the DUI? There's a chance they may deny it. It depends. You got to argue the case. Better have a lawyer on that to show you're a good person. You made a mistake kind of thing. They have discretion to deny it, but I've seen it approved. It could go both ways. If you have DACA is deferred action of child arrivals, and a DUI obviously drive under the influence. So that could be a problem, but just file the renewal and see what happens. Have a strong case, explain the situation, have other stuff that shows you're a good person, that kind of stuff. Shuman says, hi to you too as well. You're welcome, T. I wish you the best. And yes, stay away from those booze, man. It's very dangerous. All right, so we're halfway through the show. We're going to go a little bit longer today because I started late by accident. I was just studying. There's a visa category called the L1 visa, and there's a green card equivalent of it called EB1C, multinational manager. And that's for people who work for a company abroad, and the company transfers them to their U.S. office. It's a very complicated visa, and I'm doing a course on it for immigration lawyers on training of it. So I'm studying and writing my notes for a portion of the course. I like to train other immigration lawyers in their parts of immigration law, marriage immigration, business immigration, that kind of stuff. Panko, I already answered your question in detail. Are you still on your J1? Is your J1 still valid? Are you working on it or doing whatever you're doing on the J1? Yes or no? And secondly, are you subject to the 2-year home residency requirements? Those two things are very important to be able to answer your question, Panko. So the J1 2-year home residence requirements, if you're on a J1 culture exchange visa, you come to the United States, sometimes they'll say you have to go back to your home country for 2 years to share the information knowledge you gained in the U.S. before you could get a green card and get some other visas even. And so in your case, if you're subject to a 2-year home residence requirement, you can't get a green card. And if you're in the United States on a J1 that's at a status, you can't file for adjustment status. They're going to deny your case. Now, very rarely, like 2% of the times, they may still approve your case because you have asylum pending. But 98% of the time, they're going to deny it if you didn't maintain the underlying status, the J1 status there. Mr. Tuss says, as a citizen and my kids 13, 11 here and overrated, but not living with me, how can I file for that? I'm not sure what you mean overrated, but you're a U.S. citizen. If you have minor children, you could file an immediate relative case. They have to have a file entered lawfully. I think it might mean they're overstaying. You could file for a green card for them and get it. But for them to become citizens, then they have to start living with you, residing with you. So Ms. Tuss, schedule a private consultation about that. It has to probably be a paid consultation because the case is more complicated than it seems than what you're telling me earlier. Overstayed. So yeah, if they overstayed, they could still get green cards. But for them to get citizenship, become citizens once they become a green card, they have to be living with you. So that's the thing. Then we got to find out if they're not living with you, who has custody and all this kind of stuff as well. So it gets a little bit complicated, but it's doable. Yo-Yo says, please let me know. Please let me know what. Martinell says, if my fiance has a U.S. visa and we get married in her home country and they later come after 3 months, can she get an adjustment status even before the marriage was before? So I can't recommend someone enter the U.S. with a tourist visa with the intent to adjust status. That's not something I'm allowed to recommend. So I'll leave it at that. But download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Shuman asks, my wife just got a visitor visa while pending I-130, but she applied a visitor visa before our marriage. Can she come to U.S. and after 9 days change status? I just answered that question for some other person. You can't. I can't guide somebody to break the rules. If you're coming on as tourist visa, you're coming as a tourist. So I can't say just come in, wait 90 days. If you come in and then to visit and then you decide to stay, we do that all day. But I can't say something, yeah, like, get a tourist visa, come here and just kind of circumvent the rules. I'm not allowed to guide on that. But if someone's here on a tourist visa, and it happens all the time where people are coming to visit their boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, and then they have a return ticket, they're going back home at the airport, they're like, I can't do this. I can't imagine leaving my girlfriend, boyfriend I'm getting married with it. And they say, what, we'll just stay. And then we could do it. But I can't just come ahead of time and say, yeah, I do this, bypass the embassy and lie to CBP. It doesn't make sense. I can't do that. MHZ Pinchy says, my party date is 2022, filed I-45 in August. How long to go? I don't know. It's up to the government. Ruru says, can I submit my adjustment of status before medical exam? Not anymore. As of like 2 weeks ago, that stopped. Amada says, hi, F1 visa, overstayed, married U.S. citizen. How long does it take to get I-131 to get approved? 8-9 months after submission. Sharp says, Dad's been outside the U.S. on advanced parole. Should I, the U.S. citizen petition, enter with him? You don't need to. If he has advanced parole, he could just come on his own. It's his own case on that point. So I'm not sure what you would need to enter. Mada, we are answering your question. Will be a Muslim ban, Yanza says. That's up to President Trump. I'm assuming there will be. I'll call it a ban of certain countries, particularly Iran ban. But I'm assuming it will be, but we'll see. You're welcome, Shuman. Lisa says, why is there no interview dates available for Pakistan for B2 visitor visas? Pakistan's super backed up. You just got to keep checking the calendar to see if something opens up, but they're really backed up. It's very annoying. If there will be a calendar day opening up, might be like a year and a half in the future. Just keep logging on the site every day and see if anyone else cancels their appointment, and it might open up for you to be able to go. Martinell says, if we do through the consular process, can she still visit with her visa? It's up to the people at the airport. So if she's visiting at the airport, they don't want to let her in. They don't have to let her in. So it's all to their discretion. We don't have any control over that. So she has to have a return ticket. Don't come with a bunch of evidence, like, packages of stuff like luggage and like birth certificate, stuff like that. So don't think that she's coming to stay. And people do it all the time, but I just it's up to them since I have no control over it. I just got to keep it real with you. It could go bad. F1 visa, married U.S. citizen. How long does it take to get a work permit? 1 to 9 months. Shuman says, how about Bangladesh also backed up? I don't know what the current processing times are in Bangladesh. I haven't kept track, so I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know every single embassy and office how long it's taking, just wants to handle the most, and Bangladesh is not one of them. Yazna says, my wife is from Syria. I want to bring her to U.S. I have a green card. Is Muslim ban effect? There's no Muslim ban right now. If you're a green card holder, it doesn't really matter because it's going to take longer than Trump is in president to get your spouse here anyways, because of the backlog. So if you're married, just start the case. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. By the time your spouse has an interview, Trump's going to be gone. Well, it depends on who the next president is. Sharp says, my dad has been outside the U.S. for 6 months on advanced parole. I-45 pending. Can he stay longer or should he come? I can't recommend someone stay out that long. Technically, he can stay as long as the advanced parole is valid for, but I don't recommend staying outside the U.S. for long periods of time. You just never know what's going to happen. So it's not a good thing, but you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, so it'll take more than 3 years. Are you the spouse of U.S. citizen? Yeah, it's good if you're a green card holder, those cases are taking 3-4 years at least, and your spouse from Syria, just add to that. So it's going to take more than 3 years. Yazan told me to take 2 or 3 years. No, that's not happening. Anything less than 3 years is not happening if you're a green card holder. I don't know who they are. People give better promises than I do. I give realistic answers. I don't give wishful thinking answers. So who knows? Maybe it'll get faster. But right now, that's not happening. Kryza says, I-130 standalone was approved 8 months. Oh, congrats. Already paid IV fees and adjustment status, filed K3 as well. So maybe the K3 did something. Kryza, thanks for sharing that. But you never know. I mean, I don't know. But thanks for sharing that. Good luck on the embassy processing. Which embassy are you doing it with, Kryziek? All right, we got 6 more minutes. Grace and Murray says, I'm 9 months in the process through marriage green card case, U.S. citizen, but no I-765 yet. What should I do? If you really need it to make an expedite request, I'm sorry to hear that. So make sure you file the I-765, but if you need to file an expedite request from the Philippines, okay, good luck with the Philippines. It's not too bad. I heard less than a year for an interview. So you'll probably get done, mid to 3/4 of the way into next year. Sharp says, can being outside past on AP past 6 months make I-4s? No, it can't. Doesn't get denied, but you never know what's going to happen. And the longer you stay, the longer if something happens or you're stuck outside, the rules change. I don't know. I just don't recommend it because I don't like it, but there's nothing per se illegal about it. Niche says, can a U.S. citizen have a credit card and loans debt? Can filing still be possible non-citizen? And would filing banks affect the case? Your financial status doesn't directly affect your ability to file for someone's green card, like a spouse's green card, if that's what you're asking for. But there's an affidavit of support component to show you make enough money. So if you're not making money and they don't have a bunch of savings or something like that, then they'll need to find a joint sponsor. Shafiq says, my I-485 taking long 260 days, but I-130 is approved a long time ago. Any issues, you think? No, it's just the government. They're unreliable. Thank you, Krasiak, for all the thunder you're sending. Sam says, if I get my tickets in another state, what happens with me when I get my assignment interview? What kind of ticket did you get? You got to tell them and talk about it. I don't know. I would need to know your whole case. Linda says, married in Dominican Republic and also divorced in Dominican Republic. Got married in the DR. Okay. You got to make sure the divorces and marriages are valid. I'm not a family attorney. Nana says, hi, sir. Can a G2 visa holder marry a U.S. citizen? Anyone can get married, but a G2, I believe, is like some sort of diplomat visa. So when you want to file for a green card, you got to add some additional paperwork. Linda says, will the U.S. government recognize my divorce? I want to file I-130 for my husband. So that depending on state law. So if your previous spouse is a U.S. person living in the U.S., something like that, you may have needed. Let's say you and your previous spouse were both living in California, but you went and got your divorce in DR. Then it would not be recognized. So the state of California requires its residents to have their divorces in California, so a California judge could make a decision on the divorce. So that wouldn't be. But you got to talk to the family lawyer. It depends on where your ex-spouse was living and if it was valid. If your ex-spouse was a DR person, never got U.S. status, always lived in DR, you got a divorce there, and then you got remarried in DR, so that's fine. But it depends on a lot of family law. Newell says, can you correct an error made on a yes or no question on I-485 after they ask for RFE about it? It depends on what question. Yes, but it depends on what question it is, and it depends on how bad hardcore it is. So anytime before adjudication, you can make a correction to have timely retraction. But if it was something that looks like it was misrepresentation or something serious and they did RFE on it, they may still hold it against you just on discretion. So it's a little touchy. You got to see what's going on. Sam says, answer Sam question. Cleve says, why is my immigration paper extended with 7 months out of being less than a month? I don't know. It's just government takes a while. Zane says, if Canada has a conviction for theft or violent assault, will they still be after the U.S.? Maybe not. Those are serious. Theft or violent assault are inadmissibilities depending on what the convictions record is. You're welcome, Shafiq. Mohammed says, hi, please. Can I travel with travel documents? I don't know. I don't know anything about you, Bill, to answer that question. Nana says, please answer your question. Yasna. So because she is from Syria, it'll take more than 3 years? No, because you're a green card holder. I said it multiple times. Because you're a green card holder, you file for a spouse, it takes 3 years at least. And then add more years because she's from Syria. So yeah, probably another 3 years because she's from Syria. But yes, initially it's because you're a green card holder filing for a spouse. Those cases are backed up like 3 years. And then add to that the fact that there's no embassy in Syria. There's administrative processing background checks extra for Syria. Most likely. So like it's a mess. But it's primarily because you're a green card holder than Syria being Syrian. No, we answer your question. All right, we're getting a lot of repeat questions. His Queen says, how long does the embassy take to give an interview now? Been 9 days, nothing. The embassy does not give interviews. It's the embassy that you're dealing with. So it depends on how backed up the embassy is. Shona says, why is still a backlog? I'm waiting for 2 years because there's a lot of other people waiting as well. Linda says, thank you. You're welcome. Mohammed, I don't know how many times I can answer you. Unfortunately, if I see you, I'm going to have to mute you. Mohammed Garba, I keep answering your question, and you keep asking the same question, so I don't know what to tell you. Damien says, my N400, my joint bank account doesn't have my wife paycheck. It makes an issue. Not per se, unless there's some reason for it to make an issue. It's not initially a red flag, but I need to know your whole story. Morteza says, I submitted expedite for my wife to Pakistan Embassy. Embassy did not accept that request. And they told me to send more documents. Meanwhile, we got interview and now wondering if I need to submit those docs. No, at this point, you don't need to because you got the interview. Humble says, did immigrant have to pay any fees for work authorization after waiting 180 days? And if you're an immigrant, that means you got a green card. So it's not clear, Humble, what's going on. Why you would ask that doesn't make sense to me. I'm guessing you're talking about asylum case as for work permit. I don't think asylum work permits have a fee, but we don't do asylum law at our office. Noel says, we already answered that question. Noel says, it was a question about if I was ever arrested and the lawyer who I filed made an error and said yes. I got to see what happened. So if you didn't get arrested, then making a no is good. But if you got arrested, you got to get paperwork. So fixing it and just saying no is good. That means that's good that you didn't get arrested. Niv says, does an LPR live in the U.S. need to file Form 1040 if you have no income? That's an accounting question. So talk with an accountant. Carlos says, can I hire you to reset my asylum case? No, I don't do asylum law. Yasna says, but it won't be denied because she's from Syria, right? I don't know. I don't think about you. Because she's from Syria, no, unless there's a travel ban. But like, it's really about who her background is and all the so. Yasna, with the questions you're asking, I really recommend having a lawyer, especially contact our firm to help you. Schedule a consultation and hire an immigration attorney. jqklaw.com/contact. All right, we hit the 30-minute mark. I'll get a couple more questions in. We'll call it a day. Canfac, how to get a work permit when the case is not in the system? I don't know. Mooney says, hello, uncle. How long does it take to get a work permit in asylum? It takes a long time. Hania says, can a U.S. green card holder re-enter the U.S. if he's been out of the country for more than 5 years? You can try. It's up to the airport officer or the CBP customs officer whether they'll let you in. ESTA to AOS, fairly simple. Nothing is simple. I've seen people just like nothing is simple. But if you're, with ESTA, you can only adjust status if you're married to U.S. citizen, parent of U.S. citizen, or a child of one. But I wouldn't say anything is simple. I just see people completely F their lives up doing their case on their own and just have issues that they don't really even aware of. So I can't say that. Kuda says, after filing for an I-130, when can you apply for work authorization both on the U.S.? I-130 does not give work authorization. So you never, with an I-130, you can never file for work authorization. It depends on other factors. Guy is really adjustment status, I-485. Guy says, what is the best way for a U.S. citizen to bring over brother or sister states? There's no best way. It's going to take forever for you to do it. They need to find an independent way to get over here faster. Yazan, thank you. You're welcome. What happens after receipt received? Wait, we'll see what the receipt explains what happens on it. TVs, how long does it take? I don't know. Imad says, the day before yesterday, my interview was scheduled for I-485 marriage. What do you advise? Schedule a consultation session and practice for the interview to see what's going on. That's what I advise. 2 EWIs, can a U.S. citizen petition? No, you're probably subject to a permanent ban, permanent bar. So we got to look into your case. User 308. Munir says, how long valid can you get a work permit? Depends on how long the government wants to take. Hania says, got it. What if the green card is expired? Would the person need to surrender it? Hania, you need to talk to schedule a private consultation. I recommend that. You have a bad enough situation right there. McDonald says, if I get deported but I already filed T visa, will my case still be ongoing? You potentially get stay of deportation. I don't do deportation cases. I don't do T visa cases. So it's a wrong live show to be asking questions about that. So any court questions y'all have, I won't be able to answer. Rana says, I'm a green card holder in America. My husband's Iran. Can he get a tourist visa to file 130? You give it a shot, Rana, but probably not. But I wouldn't bet money on it. But you give it a shot. Can DACA recipients get married to someone that gets a security clearance check of the job? I already answered that question. Anyone can get married. That's that. 38 says, does USCIS contact beneficiaries' previous employer during adjustment in case previous verify it's real? I've never seen that, but they have a right to if they want to. Abid says, hello there. I'm a U.S. citizen and my spouse and 2 children are waiting for an interview. What is the best way to add my third child? It depends on if they're in the U.S. or abroad. If the U.S., you got to file for adjustment of status with the kid. If it's at National Visa Center, send a birth certificate to National Visa Center to add them to the case, pay their NVC fee, and fill out their DS-260 and all the other documents. All right, I'll take 2 or 3 more questions and call it a day. Nana Kopi says, I've been thinking a lot about traveling and working abroad. I have a plot of land that I'm planning to sell. Okay, I can't help you. This is U.S. immigration. And Vid says, can you lead to a denial for them? Vid, you asked this question. I have no idea. I don't handle police clearances for the government. McDonald, you're welcome. Sam, Yazan, I'm a green card holder in the U.S. I'm coming. Okay. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for reaching out. If you want to schedule a private consultation, email, contact our officer website, jqklaw.com/contact. There are a lot of people who have fake profiles of me. They email you from fake email addresses. The proper way, jqklaw.com/contact. No JQ laws with an S at the end of it at Gmail. It's a fake account. There's a lot of fake accounts, unfortunately, but honestly, you guys should be able to research it online and figure out that which one's fake. Now, so I'm surprised that when people do get defrauded like this, it's very easy to find the legit information about me. jqklaw.com/contact is the way to go. But that's the best. If you want to download a guide on marriage immigration case, you have a fiance visa case, a marriage case, download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com's website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. I wish you all have a great holiday season and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.